This is Give Thanks to Life, One Love Reggae Radio. It's a blessing, loot and fire.
Greetings, this is the big Rastaman Maccabee. You're in tune to One Love Reggae.
One Love Radio. I won't stop listening to you. It's Give Money Perfect.
Let me not tell you, man, a One Love TV, man. Don't move that dial, man. Let me not tell you. Everton Blender said that. Bing, bing, bang, bing, go, yahoo, go, yahoo.
Quique Neirával találkoztunk egy kellemes augusztusi napon Budapesten, aki a chilei reggae élet legmeghatározóbb alakja. Egy rendkívül pozitív embert ismerhettünk meg személyében. Ismerjétek meg ti is, ez itt még mindig az OLR TV.
First time when you got into reggae music. It's a nice story because somehow it shows how everything is connected somehow. That's how I see it. My dad, he used to live here in Europe in the late 70s and the entire decade of the 80s. So at the beginning of the 80s he was living in Italy, and he had the chance of watching a concert of Tibcsi, and he got mad. You know, he couldn't believe how revolutionary this guy was, you know, because he not only was talking about the right thing, you know, the human right thing, which we knew a lot about it in Chile, because in those times we were living under the military government, and that was very brutal, really. You know, those guys were, you know, killer machines. You know, that's what they did. They kill a lot of Chilean people just because they think about a different solution to our society. So that's the reason why my father had to move away from our country. So in that experience, he see Tibcsi, and besides the human right thing, he was saying, you know, legalize the ganja thing and all matters that were very. My dad was already very close to all those ideals. So he got like shocked, and he started to follow somehow the reggae, the clues of reggae here in Europe. After that, he moved to another country. He was living in the Netherlands, and then he found in the radio, in a radio station, he found a radio program about reggae the whole day. Pure reggae, and he, you know, started to record tapes. You know, he found a song he loved. He was living here in Europe, and all, you know, from time to time, my dad used to send us, you know, helping things in boxes, you know, clothes, books, whatever. I was a small kid, and between those things, among those things, I remember he sent these tapes. And you know, and I grabbed these tapes and start to listen to this, and I found this rhythm like going and I loved it. You know, immediately it was like, oh, this is a nice rhythm. I was at the same time starting to learn the English language. So in those same days, I realized that most of the songs speak about very important things. It wasn't just a few love songs. There were some love songs, but there were also some other songs with important messages. So I could understand that, and in my country we were wanting to have these ideals, you know, because we needed to, you know, have. There was a lot of censura. How you call it? Censura? Censure?
Yeah.
Censure. I don't know how to call it. Well, the radios and the artists, everybody were censorized in Chile. So we needed to, you know, listen to real humanistic things on music. So that's how I got into it, and I fell in love with it. And at that age, I was 13 years old. I realized I wanted to be singer. I wanted to write songs in those days. And then I said, okay, I'm not picking any Latin beats. I'm not picking you know, the folk music or whatever, the rock music. I think I choose the reggae to do this, to take this path that I'm choosing in those days. Years later, I realized that the tapes were David Rodigan's show, which is a very famous reggae DJ, you know, until these days. One day I will meet this guy and I will tell the story. I will tell him how important he is, at least for me, in my life, to discover my passion, and which is my my principal activity in my life. That's how reggae got into my life, because of a family vibe. You know, my father was always a very musical person. He was always into music, into jazz, into rock. And he was always, since I was a kid, he was always pushing me into music, listen music, because music is a nice language, it's a nice energy. But because of life, he had to move, and because of that move, he discovered reggae, and he sent me the reggae, and he just sent it. I've been talking with him in these days, and I have asked him, "Hey Dad, why'd you send those tapes? Why'd you did that?" And he said to me, because I felt that something was going to happen with those tapes. Now I have the same idea, but with my songs. I write songs because I have the feeling that somebody around there might be needing or searching for this thing that I try to say in these songs.
So was the road that you traveled through that time till today hard, or how was it?
Well, it's been almost 21 years making music. I started very young. At the age of 17, I made up my first reggae band, which finally ended up being a mixed style band. You know, we mixed rock and Latin and reggae. But it was the first band in Chile to say something about the concept of reggae, the colors and the dreadlocks, the kind of the beat. We made one of the first songs to be played on radio in Chile. Was a song that I wrote with that band, which name was Bamboo. 21 years working, struggling a lot because it's not easy. But what I do know is that I just follow my instinct and the voice inside of me saying, this was my way, this is my way, and this is the only way I have to be who I'm supposed to be happy in life. You know, that's really, if you ask me, that's what I've been looking for, really, nothing else. And all the rest is what comes as a consequence of that decision. Even though to become this kind of representative of Latin reggae, or at least Chilean reggae, that's a I guess I never looked for that. I've never been into that move, you know, because it's not important to me. What it is really important is that I'm happy with the music I'm doing, to be shining, and that way I can shine on somebody's perception of music, because that's how I see it, really. The art of music. You have to be able to emotion someone. If you get that, you are doing good. And because of that, sometimes you become, bigger than maybe you imagine, or even you can go beyond what you ever thought. I never thought I could be having an interview here in Hungary. This is very much more than what I imagined when I really started. But that somehow is a proof of what I'm saying, that, I hope.
Siempre mirando está tu cielo sin final, secreto de la humanidad. Dime que ella está esperando por mí. Quiero quedarme en tus brazos por toda la vida, isla de mi bien, y cada noche cantarte hasta el amanecer. Quiero quedarme en tus brazos por toda la vida, isla de mi...
There must be something in there, huh?
So how does the whole reggae era look now in Chile?
Well, 10 years ago, there was a huge pump, a huge hit with reggae in the mainstream in Chile. Somehow, I was somehow responsible of that, because I was the songwriter and the singer of a band there, and we made a huge noise with that band, with the reggae thing, and that became, all of a sudden, reggae wasn't everywhere. That was awesome, really, because nobody thought something like that could happen. But it was like when the mainstream used to take something, you know, took it for a while, and made it a huge fashion thing, and all of a sudden it was gone already. And I mean, it was gone, but the ones that kept the style and the ones that remained stuck to the style were the same ones that were before into it, before it became a kind of a fashion, a mainstream thing. So people who came to me and say, "Hey, Quique, what are you doing?" "I'm doing reggae." "Quique, you're crazy. That's Caribbean music." I mean, that's not important. The important thing is that I feel it like my music. That's real, you know. The people now in Chile recognize reggae and respect it. They at least don't discriminate that much, the dread people, you know. But the reggae scene is in kind of a status quo mode, you know. There are new representatives of the style. There are new bands too. We, the older, somehow, we've been very responsible because we've been kept on making music, making albums, trying to, you know. A couple of years ago, there was a huge movement with the dancehall, and the people look at the reggae concept at least again, you know, like, oh, reggae, these guys are still here, really. But you know, now there are a few artists that mix it with pop and hip hop, you know. And so a lot of young people somehow remember that, you know, but 10 years ago we were dancing the reggae beat and the roots beat. I think I have a strong faith in reggae. I always had it. I had it when I was younger, and I have it now. I think that in a few time, reggae is going to grow stronger in Chile again. I'm sure about that. Because reggae is very strong in other countries of Latin America. I would say Argentina has a super strong scene of reggae. There's a lot of artists there. I go to play there sometimes. The same thing in Peru. You know, a lot of activity with reggae artists. Colombia also. Mexico, who love reggae from a long time. And also Puerto Rico, etc. Chile's got a little behind of it right now, but I think that it's a behind thing. You know, we're getting some impulse to go.
Y cada noche besarte hasta el amanecer. Y cada noche cantarte hasta el amanecer. Y cada noche besarte hasta el amanecer. Wow. Y cada noche cantarte hasta el amanecer. Whoa.
So a few years ago, we got an award, the national award for the best composition.
Yeah.
What did it mean to you? Was it good? Like what did it mean to you?
Yeah, well, that happened on 2006 for my second album as a solo artist. The song was known as Good Things, Cosas Buenas in Spanish. And it is the most important recognition that I have, really, because that award, the same artists and musicians of Chile vote for the one who deserves it.
I see.
So that's why it means a lot to me, because it was my colleagues, you know, the equals as I, who gave that award to me. So it's very meaning, and it's a very important thing, because with that album, I got the reggae to places I never thought to.
Un millón de cosas buenas le pedí a Dios para los dos. Un millón
say like 3 or 5 things, which is the most important like kind of messages in your lyrics, what would you say?
Yeah. The good intention is a thing that I always consider important to make music. Also, I got militant songs too, you know, so all the songs that talk about that are a little tougher, you know. But as an artist, I write about everything. I don't know, taking a coffee with a friend, and you know the conclusions we have of how people are manifesting in these times. People of the whole planet are manifesting for, you know, equality and justice, you know. There is a whole movement right now. I can make a song about that too. I write songs about anything that I feel necessary to me, because I start from my own necessities.
What about the future? Any new albums on the way? Tours, concerts? What should we need to know about this?
Well, the future, as I see it, is bright ahead, because for an artist, as long as you are still creative, you always get an optimistic sensation in the air. And yes, I've been working a lot in the late years. This is my third year in Europe touring. That got me very happy, because it's, as I told you earlier, it is much more than what I thought. And that got me somehow a lot of inspiration and motivations to keep on the music. I'm preparing a new album. After my DVD, which is here, I did this in Eastern Island 1 year ago. I'm the first guy to make a reggae concert in that island. They love reggae, by the way. So this is my last work somehow, but now I'm working on a new album called Soul, translated Alma in Spanish. And this new album is a very special one. It's a lot of tracks and a lot of super nice featurings. I'm having, as an example, a David Hines from Steel Pulse, Alborosi is another one important in the album, Ika Mouse, Dogelito from Sweden, who is a hip-hop, very popular artist from there, Naya Vibes from Sweden, Pablo Molina from Argentina, and Amilcar Nadal from Argentina too, Johnny Dredd, who's a Cuban Rasta who lives in the United States. My nephew from 9 years old wrote a song too. My big son of 14 raps in a song too, etc. It's a very, very special album. And those two last ones are family vibes, you know. In the case of David Hines, who is a guy, he's a teacher to me, you know. I learned most of the things I know in reggae listening to the Rastafari Centennial album. And all of a sudden he was recording in my studio, you know, and we were talking about the rhythm, the beat here, the words there. You know, in that moment I said, okay, I have to thank and be thankful with life and with God, because, you know, this is, and obviously it's a blessing, and at the same time it's a pushing forward energy to my music. That album is in mastering process right now in Washington DC. It's been mixed and mastering by Jim Fox, who is a big name in reggae music. He's the responsible of the sound of Israel Vibration, Luciano, Inner Circle, etc. All the big ones in the late 20 years. And he's my friend, and he's working with me in all my works. Jar Rock too. 4 years ago I made this album, and this is Jim Fox sound too. And this new one, Alma, Soul, is the one that's coming. I hope to have it in 1 month. I think it's gonna be ready. I compromised myself in camera that I will send you at least these 2 songs I talked you about, for you to have it to the One Love program. And it's gonna be for me a pleasure. And I'm sure you're gonna love those songs. Hey people, blessed. My name is Quique Neira, and I'm a Chilean reggae artist representing Latin America, Spanish vibe in reggae music. This is One Love TV program, and I'm here to give you a lot of vibes and a lot of good vibration for you to keep on forward working in the miracle of music. Nice vibe. Bless you.
Una fuga en la prisión de los que viven postergados. 1 millón de cosas buenas